Right, welcome to another lesson in high school ICT. In this lesson, I want to show you how to insert a graph or a chart, and then how to manipulate the axes and a few other details on the graph as well. Right, so here I've got my information. Easier to take the information from a spreadsheet. And as you said, if I were to look at that, I'd have to study it quite carefully, but if I put it into a chart or a graph in a diagram representation, it's a lot easier to see and to understand at a glance. There's nothing wrong in having information in a table like this, but it just makes it a lot easier if we put it into a graph or a chart. So one of the things we want to do is we could highlight all this information, that's fine. We could just highlight the two columns, and we left click and we drag to do that. And if I want to highlight column A and column C, and I hold down the control key, go to column C, left click, hold, and now I've selected both column A and column C's information. What I want to do now is to Right, welcome to another lesson in high school ICT. In this lesson I want to show you how we insert a graph or a chart, and I'm going to be using a spreadsheet. It's a lot easier to use, and it's got the functionality to do that. You might be wanting to highlight, so you'd left click and drag across. You'd want to highlight all the information. You might only want to have the first two columns, so if I left click, I drag, I can select the first two columns. If I want to have the first column and the third column, then I hold down control, left click, drag down, and now I've selected two columns that are not next to each other. Right, then we're going to go to the insert, and I'm going to choose from my charts grouping. And the reason that you want to insert a graph or a chart is that it just makes it so much easier to look at the information at a glance. There's nothing wrong in having information in a table. It just takes a little longer to read and to absorb. But putting it into a chart or a graph makes it just that much easier to see something straight away. And here's a variety that I could use. I'm going to just go with my normal column or bar chart. And I'm going to go with a simple one that looks like that. And I can take this, I can drag it around, I can right click, I can copy, etc. So you can move it onto another sheet in your table, etc. Okay, so I want to manipulate a few things here, or rather format a few things. If you want to change your maybe you want to adjust the maximum or the minimum values of the axis scale. If I double click, it brings up format axis, and then you can change the minimum, the maximum, the units, etc. Okay, on my graph, in the top left corner, sorry, just one more thing to show. If you've got chart styles, so you could choose different styles that you want. From here you can go change the colors as well, etc. And then over here in our chart layout, we've got our add a chart element, and I can add my axes. I can add my axes title. So I've got my vertical and my horizontal. Might want to put in a chart title above, centered, overlaid, etc. Data labels, center, inside the base, outside. That's quite handy. You might want to put a legend in with no legend, just depends. You Might want to put grid lines in with major grid lines or minor grid lines, just depends. Okay, and you might want to put a trend line, etc. So those are some of the things that you can do with your graph. You can also go and change the color. Okay, we go to home, we can change the fill, change it to green, etc. So there's various things that you can do to format your graph and make it look that much presentable. You might decide, just grab this and pull it across, that you want to insert maybe a pie chart, and you can do that as well. And you can go and change the different things that you put in. Alright, so those are some of the things that we can do. In the next lesson we will continue to look at more aspects of our graph, and we'll look at different types of charts and graphs, etc. Till next time then, take care.